Today I wanted to talk about leg work in the downswing. Specifically how the legs kind of guide and lead the downswing, right? In our last video we referenced the fact that the body winds up from the top and then unwinds from the body. And I didn't want to answer what leads the downswing. The reason I didn't want to answer is because different thoughts work for different students, right? Some of my students do well when I talk to them about bumping the hips a little bit. Other students do well when I talk about the knees kind of guiding forward. Other students do well when I talk about the ankles rolling a little bit. That's what Nicholas used to talk about, getting his ankles moving to start the downswing. So it's hard to think about one specific item, but we do know that the legs guide forward motion and that we sort of unwind from the tension of the wind-up from the bottom up. So I like to tell my students, wind from the top, unwind from the bottom. We get the legs moving a little bit. So how do the legs work? Sometimes golfers use them too much. They just throw them forward and their upper body falls back. You don't want to overdo it. It's a subtle move like all moves in the golf swing, but it's definitely a little bit of a bump followed by a rotation. Think of any other sport. If I'm throwing a ball, what do? I step, I turn, and then I release my arm. Right? I'm throwing a frisbee, same thing. I step, I turn, I release. All motion is sort of like that. Even if I'm kicking a ball, what do? I step, my hip comes around, rotation, and I kick. So it's always that sequence in sports. And in golf, that's no different. My leg's first job in the downswing is to bump me over onto my lead leg. Sometimes we call that posting up, and I feel a little pressure on the outside of this leg. But I can also think about my ankles and my footwork. My foot doesn't go this way, up, by a rotation. The first thing it does is move over like so. So the first move in the downswing, legs, hips, guide you onto your lead leg. That'll bring the club about, rib high or waist high. Then it's my job to rotate and finish the golf swing. The leg's job is to get you moving onto your lead leg so you're on top of the ball and you can hit it with power. Think about that next time you're practicing. Focus on your legs staying flexed as you swing. Focus a little bit on the weight moving in your feet. Focus a little bit on this hip bumping over, getting the weight over to the lead leg. If you do those things, you'll have a better chance of guiding that club to the inside and hitting the golf ball with a lot more power.